The U.S. Commerce Secretary Gary Locke has led the most senior delegation on trade from the United States to China and Jakarta. He came here to Hong Kong first before going on to Beijing and Shanghai as well as Jakarta. He signed an MOU on wine, but he also had the time to have a look at clean energies amongst the 24 large American companies that were in his delegation.
We're here this week on the heels of the announcement of President Obama's National Export Initiative, which seeks to double American exports by the year 2015 and at the same time create some 2 million new jobs and support 2 million new jobs. And this, as others have remarked, is the first cabinet-level trade mission under President Obama's administration. While just a few minutes ago, before the luncheon, we signed an agreement to promote more American wine. And I note that on the menu we're serving Washington State wine. And having been the former governor of Washington State, I'm very pleased to see that. When I was governor of the state of Washington, I'd always say that America was noted for its wine. California was noted for the quantity of its wine. And we in the Pacific Northwest, Washington State and Oregon, were known for the quality of our wine. So you made a good choice in serving Washington State wine. But while we've just signed an agreement to promote more American wine in Hong Kong, the primary focus of this trip is another promising area of commercial cooperation: clean energy. With me are some 24 American companies of different sizes that operate in different industries. But together, they represent a cross-section of the best that America has to offer in clean energy, energy efficiency, electric storage, transmission, and distribution. To get clean energy to scale, we're going to have to mobilize and incentivize the private sector and innovation within the private sector like never before. It's important to remember that many of the technologies needed to successfully cope with climate change simply don't even exist yet. It could be next-generation biofuels. It could be modular nuclear reactors, electric cars charged by an electric smart grid, or carbon capture and storage that completely change the way the world uses energy. It could be all of these. Or it could be innovations that have not yet been imagined. And so when an American clean energy company finds success here in Hong Kong and on the mainland, it creates economic value throughout the supply chain here in Hong Kong, on the mainland, and in manufacturing towns all across the U.S. That's my definition of a win-win, creating jobs and economic value and quality of life for the people here in China, Hong Kong, and the United States. And that's why a preeminent goal of government policy needs to be making it easy as possible for private sector businesses to develop new clean energy solutions and bringing them to market. In today's global economy, where ideas are just as likely to be discovered in Shatin Science Park as in San Francisco, we need to do everything we can to keep markets open and allow for the free flow of capital and ideas all across our borders. There's no question that Hong Kong has worked hard to become a welcoming place for investment and innovation. It has an efficient and transparent legal system that offers rigorous protections for intellectual property rights and an open government procurement process. It's the hub of investment and financial services for much of Asia. And Hong Kong is turning towards clean energy development by making significant direct investments in renewable and other cleaner power generation technologies, offering generous subsidies for energy and environmental upgrades, and developing rigorous efficiency standards for everything from consumer goods to commercial buildings. Many U.S. companies look to take advantage of the strengths that Hong Kong has to offer, as well as the expertise and the experience of these Hong Kong companies on the mainland to help U.S. companies enter that dynamic market. But I would encourage you to consider another option, and that in many areas, especially in clean energy, the interests of China and the United States are actually tied together. And reforms that are good for American companies will actually be good for China as well. Because as China increasingly moves up the economic value chain from low-cost manufacturing to higher value-added research and development, the Chinese will also need protections for their innovations and free access to other markets. And Hong Kong, with its open business environment and strong legal protection, can play a critical role in and benefit from moving this process forward. Well, thank you all for joining us.
First question, TDC.
I'm Martin Jones with the Hong Kong Trade Development Council. Can I start by asking you really about Hong Kong? Because this is your first stop on this high-level mission. What is the significance of Hong Kong?
Well, as I indicated at lunch, Hong Kong is obviously a portal to not just the mainland, but really a portal a hub of investment and finance, law, R&D for much of Asia. And Hong Kong itself has very ambitious goals in terms of clean energy efficiency. And of course, they are trying to work with the entire Pearl River Delta on a coordinated strategy, because obviously the air pollution from Guangdong or Guangzhou comes and affects the air quality here in Hong Kong. And it really has to be viewed as an entire regional ecosystem. But incredible opportunities, very high energy efficiency, clean energy goals of the Hong Kong government, but also there are opportunities for U.S. companies to partner with some of the Hong Kong companies that can help those U.S. companies enter into the rest of the mainland or the rest of Southeast Asia.